sexual swear words. The video certificates are there to give you the chance to make an informed choice. They allow you to have peace of mind and be entertained. Thanks for listening. Enjoy the film.
Hello, Tosh got a Toshiba. Hello, Tosh got a Toshiba. That's an FST.
Right.
That's an FST.
Right.
It's the flattest, squarest tube. It's the flattest, squarest tube. They ain't half built well. They ain't half built well. Of course, every Toshiba component is stronger to last longer. Know what I mean? That's good. That's good. Hello, Tosh got a Toshiba. Hello, Tosh got a Toshiba.
Smith's Potato Crisps. So good, every potato wants to be one.
And now, preview time. When it comes to entertainment, you can't beat a good film. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
His name? Kurt Thomas. His title? 3-time world gymnastics champion. His assignment? A secret mission for the United States government. His only weapon? Himself. And that's all he needs. Combine the discipline, the timing, and the power of gymnastics with the explosive force of karate. And a new, all-powerful martial art is born. Gymkata. Kurt Thomas becomes Jonathan Cabot. He must penetrate a mountain fortress to compete in an ancient savage ritual. They call it the game. But nobody wins. And nobody lives. Until now. When gymnastics and karate are fused, the combustion becomes an explosion. And a new kind of martial arts superhero is born. Gymkata.
Does it ever feel like everyone's got more going than you do?
Oops.
That everyone is smart?
So you're Al Myers' kid.
Yes, I am.
You look pretty stupid to me.
Thank you.
You say the best skier in town just ran off with your girlfriend? Even your younger brother does better than you do? And that nobody even cares?
Dad broke up with me.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, you might be right. But remember one thing.
I haven't even been to New York City.
Nobody was ever better off dead.
The truth is, I can out-ski you any day of the week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you want a race? I'll take you on any day, sucker.
Go that way, really fast. If something gets in your way, turn.
All you need is guts.
All right! Now turn!
I'm gonna race, I'm gonna lose, and I'm gonna die, in that order.
Go!
And you'll never doubt yourself again.
He's skiing on one ski!
Better off dead.
That's a real shame when folks be throwing away a perfectly good white boy like that.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Perfect Movie. Please welcome your host, Richard Sandling.
Yeah. Hey, Sandling! Woo-hoo! Yes! We're here, everyone. Welcome to Richard Sandling's Perfect Movie. I'm going to assume that transition was seamless. I have no idea, but I'm going to assume it was. Hooray! Welcome to Richard Sandling's Perfect Movie. I am Richard Sandling's Perfect Movie, live from my Essex lockdown bunker with some of my entertainment behind me. Welcome to those of you who have been every week so far. Welcome to newcomers. If you're new, welcome. Prepare yourselves. This is going to be something. If you're a returner, it's basically going to be the same old shit with just some different people. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, guys. So Richard Sandling's Perfect Movie, if you've not been in and you're watching this on Facebook, feel free to comment on the Facebook stream. I have some people I have some interns checking it, and I will stop and ask for questions. If you ask me any questions or things, I'll try and answer it. We'll have a lovely time. And coming up, we got two guests today. We have the excellent Katie Pritchard and Rich Wilson will be on later, so that's very, very exciting. In the meantime, if you don't know what Perfect Movie is a show about loving films, about celebrating our enthusiasm for cinema. A lot of fandom revolves around disliking things. A lot of people are like, what do you think about that? Oh, it's rubbish. People, particularly if you're into like cult and nerddom, they're very sort of specific about the things they like. There's two types of film fans, Joe Dante said. Quentin Tarantino also said it, but everyone gave him the credit for it, despite the fact that someone said it before him, as is often the case with Quentin Tarantino. Someone beat him to it, but he gets the credit. And what he said was there's two types of film fans, those who love films and those who love the films they love, which is a very good thing, because you see people, I'm the sort of person I will give anything a go. There are some people who just like the sort of 9 films they're very, very fond of. You go and they've always got like a sort of video collection or a DVD collection of about sort of 20 films. They're all very similar to everyone else's 20 films. I will give anything a go. I'm as excited for the new Adam Sandler film as I am about some documentary about Polish farming. I'll give anything a go. So this was about celebrating the love of cinema. Love your favourite films. The idea, as I said before, it's a film that as soon as you watched it, you could watch it again. That's what. If we were all to go back to yours, if lockdown was finished tonight, and I could say, come round mine, it's going to be amazing. What films would you want me to put on? Probably something like enjoyable and upbeat. We can all write an essay about the things we're desperately passionate about. We can all critically analyse a film, but we basically want to be massively entertained. Sometimes you want, the Three Colours trilogy. Sometimes you want Fast and the Furious 5. Both are acceptable answers. So I'm going to have a little chat to some people. If anybody in the Facebook feed has a favourite film, feel free to suggest it, and I will like to hear what that is. Remember, there are no right or wrong answers because it is your favourite film, but some answers are more correct than others. This is a thing we have. This is a thing we understand. We'll also be interested to know. I'll talk to some people here about if you have any. Opening up a question. Your favourite like actors, not like leading men or women, or but like bit part players who maybe don't get the leads because they're going to be in like 2 scenes or something, and you go, it's them. So you're either going to watch it specifically because they're in it, or for example, because like if they suddenly turn up as a surprise, you go, brilliant, they're in it. This is going to be good because they're amazing. I'll give you an example of something I mean, because it can even be in a good show. It's not about actors saving bad things. It's about actors just being brilliant in brilliant things. I remember watching Game of Thrones, brilliant Game of Thrones, love Game of Thrones. Like, first series is amazing, no one puts a foot wrong. Like, the season 2, Charles Dance turns up, and suddenly the whole thing just ups its game because Charles Dance just turns up and he's like gutting this like elk, giving this sort of monologue while doing butchery, and you're like, this has suddenly just gone up like 5 levels because Charles Dance has just like raised it, has just made everyone's game raised. People like that, just very, very exciting. I'll give you an example of an actor I like, who, if I find out they're in it, or if I know they're in it, I'm always delighted to see them, and that is the actor Phil Davis, who you might know, those of us of a certain age, of a certain cinematic disposition, will remember him as Yeti from The Firm, and many other great TV and film. But like Phil Davis, you're like, brilliant, Phil Davis is in this. I'm always delighted when he turns up. So I don't know if anybody out there, let's ask some of the people in the front row. Don, do you have an actor for whom that would be like you would have as that? as a sort of bit part player that like makes you over the moon to see them?
So originally I was going to say Michael Caine, but it seems like he's too big for what you're talking about. So
yes, he's a leading man of 50 years worth of leading man material. That is completely incorrect.
Well, I'm going to switch it to
fulfill the brief, man. Fulfill the brief. It was quite specific.
Well, like he's the backup, like in the Batman movies and.
Oh yeah, but that's like he's one of those actors now where he's legitimately by default changed his name to Michael Caine to make it easier.
I'm gonna say Sid Haig, which is Captain
Sid Haig, yeah,
in the Thousand Corpses
this year. Earlier this year, did he not pass? Yeah,
he did.
Wonderful, Spider Baby, and a lot of the Rob Zombie stuff, sort of horror stalwart.
But before that, he was in a lot of like movies where he played bit parts. Like I watched a really old movie, and he was the pilot, and I was like, wait. So.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, Sid Haig, I like but also he's one of those people where like he's good, but also he's good at being like in things a bit. Do you know? That's not a dig. That's like some people are just great at being like fantastic ensemble, like memorable, solid ensemble all the way through. But probably does like, you know, all these people, they probably do like theatre and have all their other stuff. But it's just great. I'll just turn up and I'll just basically be amazing for 5 scenes and then bugger off. That's the dream. You know, none of this hanging around on set for 9 months, having to work out in the gym. Let's just turn up, be amazing, and bugger off. That's what we want. Because that's the Christopher Lee quote, isn't it? Christopher Lee quote, over your career, you will be forced to be in things that are terrible. The key is not to be terrible in them. That's his thing. So, Phil, do you have a favourite sort of bit party actor type person?
I think I've gone a bit too high as well, because the two that I highlighted were Stanley Tucci and Emma Thompson.
Oscar-winning actress Emma Thompson. No, but I think Stanley Tucci's a fair shout because he's probably a little bit too high up, but he is like one of those people where you go like, oh, brilliant, but it is delightful to know that Stanley Tucci's in it. Whatever it is, you go, oh, brilliant, he's in this. Like,
makes the screen light up.
Yeah. So I mean, he is perhaps maybe slightly more like, but yeah, but seeing him in brilliant, like that's what you want. Someone who just goes, yes, Stanley Tucci. I mean, Emma Thompson, yes, but Stanley Tucci, I'm always delighted when he turns up because it's not always a guarantee. Also, he's not always the same character in everything either. He has like, you know, he does have range, but he also gets to have range in the things he's in, which is pretty exciting. So yeah, do you have a favourite Stanley Tucci performance?
Easy A, probably.
Easy A, yeah. Well, exactly. He's got that sort of great, like, there's certain actors where you just, you know, there's certain actors get to a certain age, get that Donald Sutherland thing where suddenly you're just granddads and generals, do you know? Yeah. And it's like, now you're that age. And Stanley Tucci's got that lovely thing where he's still sort of youthful, even though he's like older. Can't play 20-somethings anymore, but you can still have all those lovely varied. Yeah. So that's it. And apparently he takes a cocktail bar with him wherever he goes, makes everyone martinis, which is
fantastic.
I would hire him just for that. It's like it's just like a sort of weird like cameo video message device where you just like, if I give you like, how much money would it cost to get Stanley Tucci to turn up and just make me cocktails? Like, crowdfund me a cocktail from Stanley Tucci. That's what I want. Martini. Has anybody from the Facebook feed come up with a favourite actor or anything for us? Has anybody said anything? I can't hear you. No.
I asked, but I just got a bunch of favourite films.
Oh, good. What's the favourite films? Have some favourite films.
Oh, well, we have got City of Lost Children and Lost Highway. Oh, and maybe The Butcher Boy, Ghostbusters, Return of Jedi. This is all from one person. Edward Scissorhands. Basquiat.
Who is this person?
Bill Clements.
Oh, typical. Bloody Phil. He can't, you know, just wait. One a week, Phil. Like, don't
David
blow your load
Morgan
early.
has said Paul Giamatti.
Yes.
I don't know who that is.
He's like, it's trying to think of the definitive thing that you would go, oh, it's Paul Giamatti. But he was the remake of Planet of the Apes. Him, you know, for the remake of Planet of the Apes, the Tim Burton one, not the prequels to the sequels of the remakes, the Tim Burton ones. That's good. No, I was going to have a chat to. I was going to say because City of Lost Children is an odd movie. It's great, but if you haven't seen it, I would recommend it. It's the people who did Delicatessen, Jeanne Caro and Caro. I don't know how to pronounce it. I've only ever seen it written down. It's very good. Ron Perlman, if you're a big fan, if you like your Ron Perlmans, Ron Perlman's in it. He's another one of those leading men who, when he used to be more or less leading man, it was always delightful to see Ron Perlman turn up and stuff. He's in his film. It's a French language film. Ron Perlman can't speak French, just learned to speak everything phonetically. And apparently, if you are French, it's fine. Don't know, but apparently it's fine. Or that's what they told him at least. I mean, yeah, that's great. That's great, Ron. Great, Ron. Say très bien. Très bien. Encore. But it's great. So it's a very bonkers, like one of those sort of nightmarish, sort of not fairy tale, but had that aesthetic. It's great. I would, if you haven't seen it, watch it. Doesn't have the delicatessen sitting on the bed funny moment, but it is great. It is great. It's great. Well, is there anything else from the Facebook feed?
Yes, they're warming up now. We've got Billy Whitelaw and Mink Stole.
Billy Whitelaw and Mink Stole?
Yep.
Excellent. Well, yeah, I mean, Billy, have you seen, is anyone here watching Talking Pictures TV? It's on Freeview. It's great. There's loads of old movies. There's some movies, new movies, but there's loads of old movies on Talking Pictures TV. And I would say 1 in 3 of them, it's basically every other movie either has Billy Whitelaw or Sid James in it. It's basically one of those things. I had no idea that Billy Whitelaw and Sid James made so many films back in the day. But yeah, Billy Whitelaw is really good. And it's a really interesting film. Have you seen Slayground? Slayground's got Billy Whitelaw. I'm a big fan of Slayground. That's one of those like Richard Stark sort of Hunter novels, like Parker novels. But when they did like Payback and all those movies, that's really good. It's got Peter Coyote has to hide out in England, and Billy Whitelaw and Mel Smith. He hides out with Billy Whitelaw and Mel Smith while an assassin is trying to kill him. So he hides out in a seaside town out of season. Well worth a watch. Well worth a watch. Well, that's very good. Is everyone feeling happy?
Yeah.
Good. Do we want to bring on an act?
Yes.
Yes, we do. What we do is, you remember, we do a film quote to shout out a film quote. So everybody who's at home, scream really loudly to make sure this terrifies everybody. If you're in the front row, scream really loudly so that everybody who's around you thinks what's going on. So the quote we're going to do a quote from Barton Fink, which is, if you've not seen it, an exceptional movie. It's like the Coen brothers are probably the only people who can get away with doing, we don't know what to write for our film, let's write a film that someone doesn't know what to write a film about, and not make it shit. That's it. That is up there with, why don't we do a comedy? Why doesn't that comedy show be about us all putting on a gig? No, because it's terrible. Because no one needs to see that. It's not interesting. It is, if you could write it properly, but you're not making Barton Fink. You're not making Barton Fink. But Barton Fink is a great movie. So I'm going to show you, I want you to shout out, I'll show you the life of the mind really loudly, like you're running down a corridor on fire, which is a great metaphor for the UK at the moment. Run down a burning corridor towards an exit that isn't there. So after 3, I'll show you the life of the mind really loudly, okay? After 3, ready? 1, 2, 3.
I'll show you the life of the mind.
Yes, excellent. That was brilliant. That was amazing. Synchronized shouting. Who'd have thought we couldn't pull it off? Well, so everybody start a round of applause. Will you please welcome Katie Pritchard?
Hello, everybody. So I've been thinking a lot in lockdown about things that are similar age to me. Because I've had a lot of time, so I thought that would be a fun project to go and research. And I discovered that the movie Commando is actually only 1 year older than I am. That's quite cool. But I feel like it's aged quite well. Like, I watched it for the first time recently. I don't know if anyone here has seen it, but I'll just run you through basically, because I saw it for the first time basically the other week and I absolutely loved it. So basically it's a classic Arnold Schwarzenegger film. He's ex-military and he's trying to make a new life for himself, right? That's the premise of the movie. The prologue starts, there's lots of killing. as you'd expect. There's lots of shooting. There's someone stole a car from a car showroom and somehow it had a full tank of gas, enough for him to make his getaway, which I thought that's pretty impressive. You know, the directors thought about a lot of stuff here. It's pretty cool. And then they go fishing, and then the fishing boat explodes. And there's a remote control with a very long antennae. There's a lot going on in this movie. And then we cut to, basically, that's the prologue, right? So we're sort of set up, right? There's a lot of bad guys in town. And then we cut to Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's carrying this massive tree in the wilderness. What's he doing that for? I don't know, just showing off his muscles. That's the thing. But he's very toned and very oily, and it's very cool that he's carrying this tree. And then we have a very confusing montage for about 5 minutes with him and this girl, where we don't actually understand quite what the relationship is there. Like, they go out and they share each other's ice cream, they're kissing each other on the mouth, they're play fighting, they're doing all this stuff. And at the end of the montage, it cuts to a photo of a card on the fridge which says, "I love you, Dad," so that we understand that relationship, that's a father and daughter relationship, and nothing else going on there. But we did need to cut to that card, otherwise we'd have been confused for the rest of the movie. You know, the daughter in it, she's really cool, right? So she wears dungarees. She's you know, her dad's ex-military. She can fight, right? But one thing she's not good at, or maybe she is making sandwiches. And my favourite line in the entire film has to be when she's just served. She must be about 12, I'm guessing. She served up this sandwich for her dad, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he goes, "What's this?" And she replies, "You don't want to know." Like she didn't make the sandwich. Love that bit. It's such a good movie. And then we have loads of exposition. What I love about this movie is it tells you what's going on, which is really useful because you might get lost otherwise. But we have loads of exposition. So we find out Arnold Schwarzenegger's ex-military. We find out some bad guys are after Arnie. Shit. And then the shooting starts, and there's loads of shooting. They kidnap his daughter. Oh my gosh. And then even though the bad guys ripped out all of the cables of Arnold Schwarzenegger's car, he still decides to get in it and ride it downhill. Incredible. The suspension on that car as well. Beautiful. If I'd have seen that in Top Gear, I'd probably have bought the car, thinking, yeah, I'll go on a little weekend rampage down a hill in that bad boy. And then because they've kidnapped his daughter, the bad guys are trying to force Arnold Schwarzenegger to do something that he doesn't want to do. Now, we all know Arnold Schwarzenegger, don't we? And he's not going to do something that he doesn't want to do, quite frankly. But what he does do, which I think is a special treat for all of us, is he whacks in a little "I'll be back" in there. It's not the right film for it, but he's popped it in anyway. He knows what we want and he's giving us it. That's what I love about Arnold Schwarzenegger in this movie. Now, when he gets taken on a plane by these bad guys, and these bad guys are like, "You have to do this, otherwise we'll kill your daughter." And he's taken on a plane, and what I love about this is a full, completely packed Boeing 747, and no one notices him assault and kill the bad guy that's taken him on a plane. No one notices it. It's a big hoo-ha. He does it with his elbow, breaks his neck, puts a blanket over him. No one's noticed. Love Arnold Schwarzenegger. And then he escapes from the plane. He comes out from the wheel. You know, the bit he goes into the cargo, into the wheel, sits on the wheel, waits until way too long. I'd have jumped a lot earlier than he did, but he waits, you know, just when the wheel's starting to go back in. And then he hops out. I mean, I should have said there's a lot of spoilers in this. Sorry for anyone that's not seen this, but it's just, I feel like when you watch the movie, you'll be like, "Oh yeah, I was looking forward to this bit." Hopefully, now when we established that he's only got 11 hours to save his daughter, 11 hours, so he sets his watch, and it's just like 24, but just with 11 hours. So you can see where they got the premise, you know, for 24 from Commando. Now, basically what happens, he's in the airport, he's trying to save his daughter, he befriends this flight attendant, by what I mean, he kidnaps her, rips the chair out of her car, sits in a hole. But I don't know why he ripped the chair out. He could have had a nice comfortable journey, but no, he ripped the car out. And this woman that's playing the flight attendant, possibly the worst actor I've ever seen, but her natural instincts when paired with Arnold Schwarzenegger is pure comedy genius. I mean, I'm definitely going to be using her as an example of how to act if I get any other acting work after lockdown ends. Incredible. Now, but there's a riot in the mall then, a riot everywhere. There's stuff everywhere, fire, gunfire, everything. And do you know what Arnold Schwarzenegger does? He takes an inflatable snake and he flies across the ceiling on this inflatable snake. It's incredible. And then it's like the scene from The Matrix, you know, when all the agents are coming at him and he's like, oh, there's like 100 of the same agent. It's just like that, but with mall cops. Now, I don't know how big this mall is, but it didn't need to have 400 mall cops, but apparently they're all there fighting Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's beautiful. Then there's a car chase. I mean, this movie's it's literally got everything. I'd say, like, the pegging scene went a bit too far, but other than that, it's got literally everything. Like, there's a fight scene in a motel, and they go through the wall because they're fighting, and the couple that are in the room next door, they didn't have to be doing what they were doing, but I like it. There's no such thing as small parts, only small actors. They've grown their part, they're naked, she's on his back, they're under the covers, they burst in, and there's tits everywhere. It's beautiful. It's something for everything. It's literally amazing. And then I'm just going to cut quick cut to, but basically he finds where the bad guys are keeping his daughter. And it's incredible. It's he's taken on the whole of this army that has somehow lived there. Shots fired, exploding buildings, taking out all the windows, taking out all the beautiful Roman sculptures. There's beautiful Roman pillars. What I love about this director is he's taken his one nice location that he's had, a beautiful botanic garden, and he's decided this is the scene where I'm going to blow everything up. Every other scene is industrial, but no, he's taken the beautiful botanical gardens, blown it up, and it's incredible. And now I don't want to ruin the last few scenes for you, but basically Arnie turns a baddie into a shish kebab, he cracks a joke, classic Arnie, rescues his daughter and acquires a new wife, and he did all that without any pants on. So before I start, I've been trying to catch up with some movies during lockdown, and I've been told that sometimes my comedy is a bit niche, so I've tried to broaden it out to a wider spectrum. So has anybody here seen the Netflix movie The Irishman? Hopefully. And then has anybody here of those people also seen the movie musical version of Cats? No. Okay. Well, just use your imaginations, guys. This is specifically for people that sit within that Venn diagram. The Irishman and seen Cats, the movie musical, and I've written a little song because basically I wish. One thing I do wish is that Robert De Niro wearing Cats. It would have made a much better movie. I think we can all agree. Here's my little song. Yeah. Oh, I wish Robert De Niro was in Cats. There he is. He'd have brought the role to life with a bit of this and that and that. Oh, I wish Robert De Niro was in Cats. They could have CGI'd his fur on along with a coat, a scarf and hat. And it would have looked more realistic than his eyes, Irishman, and that's just a fact. Just Google it if you've not seen it. Oh, I wish Robert De Niro was in Cats. Yeah. And he'd have tried actual catnip to see how he reacts. And when he'd see a ball of yarn, he'd be ecstatic. And when he'd meow or hiss, it would feel like bliss. His body's so agile, but his character would be far from fragile. Oh, I wish Robert De Niro was in Cats. And this is my little song about how much I long for that. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah. That was amazing. Thank you, Katie Pritchard. Fantastic, excellent. Katie, thank you. Where can people find you online? Not our lockdown's still in place. Don't stalk her down. But where can they find you online?
Most of my social medias are spelt really weirdly, which I'm sorry that I did that. But it's at Katie Pritchard's with an S at the end. When I set them up, that's what I thought I'd do. I went for it, and I went full pelt on all social medias. So that's where you find me. I'm also on Twitch at Katie Twitchard. And my website is katiepritchard.co.uk. Come find me.
UK's. That's really sweet. Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for coming. That was excellent. I'm a big fan of Commando. It is a great movie. It is. Does he? Is that the? That's the one where, isn't it? Once he's killed the guy in the plane, is that where he says, "Look after my friend. He's dead tired."
Yeah. What a pun.
I know.
I mean, it's got so many bangers in that film.
Yeah. Is it "Let Me Go"? I let Sonny go. That, isn't it? Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is. But it is one of those films. It is one of those films where you watch it and you go, once you've seen like modern, sophisticated, films where everything has solid internal logic and violence is quite real, like the Bourne movies made everything sort of realistic and all that. When you go back and watch Commando, it makes it like really, really stupid. But at the same time, I kind of miss films being that just entertaining, but making no logical sense. You're just gonna jump out of an aeroplane and just land in some reeds, and that'll just be it. He hasn't even got wet trousers when he jumps out of the. It's just madness. Like
he takes his jacket off.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, that's amazing. Well done, thank you. And yeah, the CGI in The Irishman was weird. I mean, I was like, it was distracting. I found watching The Irishman, because apart from that, it was 3 hours long and didn't need to be. Like literally all films these days didn't need to be 40 minutes as long. 40 minutes could have gone out that easily. The CGI didn't make anyone look young. I don't know if that was just me, but I was watching it and it was like, they're just walking around, like they're ambling around like old men, and then it's just like someone's put that weird.
Yeah.
They would have been better. Like you watch, like when HD came in and people didn't know how to do makeup for it, so they just gave everyone that sort of like men got a tan and women got that sort of weird pink like dull face, and men got the weird sort of like George Hamilton tan just to make sure it was like no lines, no scars.
Yeah.
They'd just done that. It would have been more plausible for them to go, I'm now 40, okay. I mean, you got people like Al Pacino, who, even though he's 80, looks pretty good for 80. So, like, he still doesn't look like an 80-year-old man, even though he's 80. So the whole thing's like, I can believe, just go, this is now 1956. I'm quite happy just to believe that it's 1956. I don't need him to de-age him. It's like meaningless. But, you're right. He would have been good as a cat as well. So, moving on, people. Who? I say who, it's the front row. The front row. Who wants to play a game? Yes is the answer. Yes. Yes. Okay. Do we have any questions from the Facebook feed? Any comments or questions? Any pressing matters that need to be addressed?
No, just lots of clapping and lots of love for Katie.
Oh, good. Good.
Guys.
It was very good. It was like, also, Katie adopted a fairly modern technique of the way she described Commando is basically, I've seen 3 trailers so far for new films where that was basically the trailer. They just basically took them like, it just took like, not saying, I've seen the trailer. You remember before you used to get those ad trailers where they go, it was just basically in a minute and a half, they just go, here's like the film, and then it would end with the hero turning up and then the baddie turning up, and you'd go, and that's the only bit of the film you haven't seen. Like, there was films like the Hulk, the Edward Norton Hulk was basically da-da-da-da-da-da-da, and then there's the big fight at the end. You go, well, I've seen the movie, I just turn up for the big fight at the end. I've seen that now, but now the trailer's like 3.5 minutes long, and like nothing, like why trailers shouldn't be 3.5 minutes long, people. They're supposed to make us want to watch the film.
Yeah.
So, you know, don't tell us every single thing that happens in 3.5 minutes. That's a ridiculous trailer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? What are you doing, people? I don't know whether editors have got a note. They've just got to do that. But stop making trailers long and boring. It's a trailer, for God's sake. Thank you. This has been my TED Talk. My TED Talk is available online. So we're going to play a game from the front row. Now, what we're going to do is one of you is going to play, but I'm going to let all three of you essentially play as part of the team. So do we have anybody in the front row who would like to run point on the game that you've seen before? Would anybody like to take points? Who's that? Is it waving? Don's waving. Don's going to take point. But I need Phil and Karen to you've got to join in. So for people who are watching at home who've never seen this before, and people who've not seen this bit of the show before, this is a game. Remember that there's a great game called Play Your Cards Right, where it's called like higher or lower. And basically it would be like cards, like playing cards. You have to guess the next one to be higher or lower to win a prize. This is VHS, play your video cards right, where I will show a succession of VHS sleeves from my selection, and you have to guess whether the film is rated higher or lower on IMDb than the film that came before it. So remember, you win nothing. But I would like to know what you think. So they're on Facebook page. Let's give it shout it. Let's see if we can do it. So Don, you're going to play, but I want Phil and Karen to and also Rich and Kate, if you want to suggest, let's go for it. We feeling confident, Don?
Yep.
Right, I'm going to try and let's see if this screen sharing thing works. And we are going to go for. Oh, are we ready? Can you see that?
Yep.
Play your video cards right. So we're going to go for. So I want to hear. So we're going to go for the first one. Which, where are we? It's coming. Police Academy 5. Assignment Miami Beach. It's a classic. If you can see, it's a Police Academy 5 : Assignment : Miami Beach. This is a very exciting one. This is directed by a TV director, and this is the one where Steve Guttenberg said, "I'm not doing any more of them." So if you want, Mahoney, you're out. You've just got to. It's 1 to 4 is Mahoney. Also, Bobcat Goldthwait didn't want to come back because he thought that the character of Zed in the script would not talk like that. Which, if you've seen Bobcat Goldthwait talk, is weird to have Bobcat Goldthwait say that nobody would speak like that. The Bobcat Goldthwait apparently it's mostly how he operates. Is the fallout from doing a terrible Bobcat Goldthwait impression. This is the one with the Diamond Thieves, and the one I believe this is the one with Dork on suntan on his chest. It's rated PG, so you can only imagine the level of shenanigans they get up to. It's very edgy. I haven't got to guess this one. This is you've got this. This is it. So, well, as a guess, what do we think this is rated on IMDb? What do we think?
0.2.
What?
5.2.
5.2. Let's see. 4.7. That's a good guess, though. Good guess.
I was
so
going
that's
to say
4.7. 4.7. Let's move on to the next one. So doesn't matter if you've got that really. Just so they've got A Certain Sacrifice. Madonna. Starring a very young Madonna. So young, in fact, she's not called Madonna in it, but her real name. It's written and directed by someone who only made this. It's an attempt at an edgy, underground, trash-type movie full of nihilism and existential angst and sex. And it was shot as a student film and shot on Super 8mm, so the quality is really good. Madonna was an unknown at the time, but insisted upon being paid for it, which meant she had to sign a release form. And then when she became famous, she tried to have the film banned, but because she'd signed a release form, she couldn't. So that's the only amazing fact from this movie. So what do you think? Higher or lower than 4.7? What do we think, Pete? What do we think? Higher or lower? Higher?
Lower.
Who's saying higher?
Higher.
Higher.
Higher than 4.7. Let's have a guess. Okay, higher. We're saying higher. Remember, you win nothing.
Oh, no.
And it is 2.7.
Oh, what?
What were y'all thinking? There's no way.
Ultimately be rated 2.7 on IMDb. I thought it was like just out of sympathy. They're all 4. But so moving on. So 2.7. Moving on to our next video. Dangerously Close, or CLOSE, which is a third film by cult director Albert Puyon of Sword and the Sorcerer, Cyborg, Captain America, Kickboxer 2, Blood Match, Nemesis, and Ticker. And it's about kids, like our misfit kids at school, who find out that there's like the elite kids, all the sort of the fancy rich kids and the snobby kids. They're actually like a secret society of like murderers who kill all the undesirable ne'er-do-wells, and then into sort of society as well, and then how all the ne'er-do-wells and the roustabouts fight back. It's almost identical to the film Brotherhood of Justice, which was made that year and stars a lot of the same cast. And as you can see, as I said before, what you see at the top of the screen, featuring hits by Black Guru, Depeche Mode, Black Uhuru, sorry, I can't read it, Depeche Mode, Funny and Cannibals, Rock Palmer, many, many more. If the film main focus is the soundtrack, it is a bad film. But is it worse than 2.7? What do we think? Higher or lower than 2.7?
It's higher.
Higher.
I'd say it's higher. It's like 3.5.
Higher.
Lower. Lower. Okay, we're going to go for it. Are we ready? 5.5.
Wow.
This is not good, team. You've got one more chance to not be a total failure. Are we ready?
No.
I wouldn't have read that movie.
The Unnameable returns. So, this is directed by the guy who made The Unnameable and Chinatown Connection. This film is amazingly also stars David Warner and John Rhys Davis.
I've seen it.
As people who were free for a day. And in at the time. Jean-Paul Huillet. I don't know how you pronounce it. Only ever seen it written down on the screen. This is basically it's a sequel to a film that was loosely based on H.P. Lovecraft's short story. So this is like the sequel to a film that isn't actually based on H.P. Lovecraft. They've basically got a character in it called Randolph Carter, and hope that's enough. If you were an age and you remember Dr. Terror's Vault of Horror on TV back in the 90s, this was one of the main films they would show. This and Dr. Giggles was essentially the two films they would show every other week. It's very good. So do we think The Unnameable, again, the tagline is again from the depths of hell, which I think is pretty good. So do we think this is higher or lower than 5.5? What do we think, team?
No, this is lower. Yeah, lower.
Lower than 5.5. We going lower? Higher, lower?
Higher.
Ooh. Higher than 5.5. It is lower. I feel like nobody's done anything correct.
No, I got 2 out of 3. The team is just terrible.
I think I got them all right. I got everyone right.
Aaron's got everyone right.
Aaron smashed it.
Yeah,
I didn't understand what I was doing.
How did y'all think the student film with Madonna was going to be higher than an actual fully produced movie?
Yeah, I know.
Well, I thought, in my defense, I thought her fans would have voted for that.
Like a cult classic.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I suppose lots of people who've watched it, and maybe it's tough love. Maybe if you love Madonna, you have to accept that she's done some questionable things, artistically.
I say lately in the bath.
No, I don't really care about that. That's you do you, mate. But there are some terrible cinematic endeavours on her behalf. She has the rare honour of being two of the worst things about a Bond movie. The cameo and the theme tune, which is quite rare. Very few people get to be the worst thing about a Bond film for 2 reasons, 2 separate reasons. Anyway, did anyone on the Facebook feed get that correct? Do we have anybody on the?
It was a mixed bag, so yeah, some people did, some people didn't. I don't think anyone got them all right.
Except me.
Well, it's obvious.
They'll correct me if I got that wrong.
Yeah, hopefully they should correct you. This is the internet. Surely everyone should be. Actually, I think we'll find. I did get that right.
But what about?
Yeah, what you're not taking into account though is that in 1973 there was actually a TV show where someone with a name like that appeared. So actually that means it's canon. And so moving on. Team, we're moving on. Is everyone ready? I need to bring out. We're on a Zoom call. They're ready for me to bring it out. He's just over there. Just going to come over. My special guest for the evening. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Let me get a film quote shout out. But anybody, Karen, do you have a favourite film quote you could have a shout out?
No.
Okay, let's all shout out no really loudly. I'm sure there's a film where no is one of the quotes. So let's give that a go, shall we? After three, everyone shout no.
No.
After three, listen.
Oh yeah.
Listen. Pay attention.
Right, sorry.
It's after three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. No! Brilliant. Just think, it's even, you could be doing a quiz now. You could be doing some online quiz. If not, you're doing this. Welcome, so please, round of applause and welcome to the screen, Rich Wilson!
Look at that. Hello,
how are you?
Rich.
I'm good. How are we? Are we well? We all right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think we're all coping with the madness, just about.
Just about. I enjoyed that. Katie was brilliant. I really enjoyed that. It was really good fun. Yeah.
Yes.
Really good fun.
Yeah.
I was like, halfway through, I was like, what film is this again? It was like,
it's all of them from the 80s.
Yeah, because I was like, what's this? Hang on. Wait. Oh, yeah. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Good.
Yeah, let off some steam.
Yes. And I apologise if anyone saw me. I was because I was watching Katie and then I was like, I kept looking down at my phone. So I was trying to find, it was driving me mad, the name of this supporting actor that I knew I loved and I couldn't think of his name. So I was doing that at the same time.
Did you work out who it was?
Yes, I did. I found him.
Who was it?
Michael J. Pollard.
Michael J. Pollard. Yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. And I'm gutted because I just seen that he's died.
Yeah. I mean, yes. I mean, yes, unfortunately, it's another yeah.
Yeah. No, he's dead. Brilliant.
He's like one of those great people. There's a great, I don't know if I've got it. Have I got it here? No,
you must have. Oh, weird. Shit.
He did this great, he's like in this weird Little Foss and Big Halsey, which is like a Robert Redford like motorcycle movie with Johnny Cash did the music and stuff like that. It's great. Like
he always appeared in. He was always the sidekick or the. Like he was in, I'm sure he was in a Clint Eastwood movie, and he was always. But every time he popped up, I'm like, oh, I love that guy.
Yeah.
And that was so it was bothering me, and I'm like, I know his name was Michael, but I couldn't remember what. But
is he one of the sort of underground homeless people in Scrooged?
Yeah, he is.
One of those guys who lived in the sewer, the one who freezes to death.
Yeah, he's like the main one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
It's like he's in everything, but he's great, and then
Yeah, brilliant. And I'm really gutted. I've just found out he's dead.
So sorry. I know.
I was like, yay! Nah, shit.
I'm so sorry. There's just no easy to break this. There's no easy way to break it to you. But
he was 80. He's done well.
He's done well, yeah. Especially considering he lived through the 60s and 70s as a independent film actor. I'm sure he's seen some stuff.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, not casting this pleasure on the character. I just mean I'm sure he was. I'm sure he's had some parties.
I don't think I would have survived. I've got to tell you that right.
No, it's pretty good. So I have asked you to come on. For those who don't know what this section is, Rich is going to talk about his. We're going to have a chat about some of his favourite films. Then we're going to sort of chat about some of his favourite scenes and recreate some of his favourite scenes live for you, which is very exciting. I'm very keen. We've got some good ones for him. I think it's going to be exceptional.
Printed them off.
I printed them. I know it's like printing it and everything. It's like this is welcome to the 20th century, guys.
We're in the future.
So I know you like your films, but have you always been a fan of films, like from an early age? Was it always a big thing for you, or?
They were the one thing that they kind of, our family, that sounds shit. We weren't a shit family. It was just that our family were brought together by movies. So we always went to the cinema when we were really young. So I saw Grease, I saw Star Wars at the cinema, and Jaws 2 and Saturday Night Fever. And so it's always, the movies have always been a thing. And then when video came out, we'd always have a big battle about what we were going to go and rent. And what, mind you, my dad, he bought, so there was VHS, wasn't there? There was Betamax. And my dad bought Betamax because he said it's a better quality recorder. And but there was only ever 2 films in the 80s. So we go to the video shop, there'd be like racks and racks of all these VHS movies. But there was only ever like Blues Brothers and I think it was like Rambo or something like that. Just that was it.
Grease 2, but never Grease.
Yeah, exactly. It was always something a bit off. It was never the one. It was like the next bit. But we watched the Blues Brothers on repeat. But it was always movies have always been a part of my life. I love films. So I mean, I'm very impressed by your wall. What are you doing?
Well, this, for those of you who can't see, this is the Evil Dead on Betamax.
Holy shit! Look at that.
Betamax, if you want to see what a Evil Dead Betamax looks like, there you go.
Wow!
All the kids watching.
Yeah, all the kids. For all you kids, just throwing my thing on the computer. That's fine.
We had to
start screen sharing again. That's good, isn't it? Look, it's foreign. It must be Dutch because look, that's a Dutch card.
Oh, nice! I remember that poster. Yeah, we weren't allowed to watch that when I was a kid. We weren't allowed. There was a load of horror films. I Spit on Your Grave and Texas Chainsaw Massacre and all these things. We weren't allowed to watch them. But there was always somebody with an older brother, and you'd sneak round, and then he'd be watching it in his bedroom, and
yeah,
it was exciting. But there, it was an event. You had to leave the house to rent a film.
Yeah, I know.
It was like, oh, we're going to rent a film on Friday, and you were so excited.
We used to have a thing down the road from me, which was great, which was RM Videos, which is just down the road, which is no longer there now. It's now a nail salon. But I've still got my video card. Everything. If you know Essex, everything either becomes like a sort of a takeaway or a nail salon. That's basically every time someone shuts down, it's a takeaway or a nail salon. That's what happens. There's no.
I drive past the old Blockbusters on a regular basis in Southend on the corner, and it's just this broken down building now. And every time I drive past, I get this little sadness in my heart. I'm like, oh, man, that was cool. Yeah.
Well, they used to have this deal. It's really weird because now you go like, people go like on like Amazon Prime, it's like $1.99 for a video, and you're like, oh, it seems a bit much. I'll just wait for it to be free. But at the time, like 15 years ago, I would have paid like £3.50 to rent one film, like 4 times a week, like 3 years ago. It sort of makes no sense. Like I remember I went to they used to do a thing at RM Videos, and it was a new one was like $2.75, and if you got a new one from the left hand wall, any of the old movies on that side of the wall were 50p.
Oh wow!
So for $3.25, you got to get two movies. So I'd always get a new one and then just worked my way through the old ones, which is where they had all the weird horror and But it was $1.50 for them if you didn't want to get them. If you wanted to get them, you could get $1.50, but it was 50p with a new release.
Yeah.
So that was.
I would have loved to have had the confidence of somebody that never rewound the videos before they took them back.
Yeah.
These people are fucking psychopaths, man.
I know. It's very much like, I think there's someone put a thing out, but rewinding the videotape is very much like, do you put the trolley back or do you just leave it in the car park when you finish shopping? Like you just put the trolley back because that's what decent people do.
Exactly. Decent human being.
Yeah. It's like there's no, rewind the tape. It's like you could literally, when it's finished, just rewind it. Like it's no don't leave it. Just leave the thing playing. It'll hit the tape. It'll automatically rewind. Yeah, exactly. You haven't even got to rewind it. Just leave it. Exactly. Do nothing. It'll rewind. If anything, not rewinding it is like a sort of act of aggression.
Yeah, because you've stopped it.
A dirty protest.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Bullshit, mate. Yeah.
Although, of course, if an old VHS tape hasn't been rewound, because I'm a big fan of charity, we used to be able to get it from the charity shops and things like that.
Yeah.
If the charity shop tape hadn't been rewound, or a shot from the video shop hadn't been rewound, there's a good possibility that could be where there was a nude scene and they just kept rewinding it to watch that bit. And then when they finished, that's where they just in the middle, just before or just after. And you can always tell there'd be a little crackle.
I was going to say, there'd be that little white line going across. Little white line.
You watch a film, and all of a sudden it goes, and you go, oh, coming.
Hold on.
It's a great little precursor. You know, it's like, oh, here we go. There's going to be some guys.
Salty bit. It starts snowing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah.
Tape was not that robust the format to cope with the loneliness of the renter.
I remember you'd be watching a film with the family, and then there'd be a bit in it that you liked, and you go, I'm gonna come back to that later on when everyone's gone to bed. So I think Peter Kay did a bit about it. Like you'd sneak downstairs afterwards, and then you'd find the video and you'd put it on. But the videos were so loud, it was like you were firing up a plane. You'd put it in, and you go right. You go, woo! Oh, good! It got me knob out, and I'm yeah.
And then the fast, because you go like the fast forward, it'd be like massive. Hoover on. It's just like madness.
Yeah. Good times.
Let's not do this. Let's just talk about videos for the rest of the evening. Never mind. Talk about yourselves. Let's talk about videos.
Also, supporting actors, Harry Dean Stanton.
Ah, yes, love Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah.
Again, sadly, recently died. Was he 94 when he died?
Yeah.
94.
But just brilliant. He was brilliant in everything. He was brilliant in Christine. He was brilliant in The Hulk. He was brilliant in what's the one? God, he played the priest that was in. Oh, this is what we're talking about. Yeah, it's in the film we're going to talk about in a minute. Yeah.
But also Repo Man was great in Repo Man.
Yeah. He was excellent in everything.
Very sort of himself in everything as well. Like one of those actors who kind of you hide because you wanted Harry Dean Stanton to be in it. Which is like a great thing. But he's like he was basically like he's one of those people like 94 years old and just basically chain smoked and chain drank every day.
Yeah,
like forever, like since he was 14, just like gin and fags like all day. Like,
yeah, he was just galvanized.
And then there was a thing where I remember there was an interview with him when he was 93, and he said, all I do is drink and smoke just so that I have the energy to keep drinking and smoking. 94 years old. Just like
I eat shit, I can have the energy to eat shit.
Then I go to bed.
Yeah.
Might walk to the bar and play piano. Have a smoke and a drink and then go to bed. It's just madness.
Yeah, brilliant.
Gotta love that. Oh, Harry Dean. It's a different generation of hardcore actors, wasn't it? Back in the day. So we're gonna, was there a film? This is a question I'd like to ask the people. Was there a film as you were growing up where there was like that film where you just suddenly saw it, and there was happened to be at the time when suddenly that made you like take films seriously or love films? There was like a sort of watershed moment when you're like, oh man, I fucking love movies, rather than just watching films and loving and having that movie that made you go, oh my god, like cinema is amazing.
Are you asking me or the people?
Yes.
You're asking me? I don't remember a lot of films I like. There's like, we were talking about dialogue yesterday, and there's a lot of films I like. There's not a lot of dialogue in them. There's a lot of moodiness. But I love the film Bullet. But Steve McQueen was famous for not saying a lot. So there's not a lot, because he couldn't learn lines. So a lot of his was like standing there being all moody and aggressive and, being Steve McQueen. So there's a lot of Steve McQueen films he doesn't say much. If you watch a Steve McQueen film, there's not a lot of dialogue with him. And so I think I like a lot. I like atmosphere. Like someone mentioned City of Lost Children earlier, brilliant film. So that's right up my street. I love that kind of the look of it, and it's the future, but it looks like it's the past, and it's that kind of steampunk. It's all over the place, It's not really of a time anywhere, but it's and I love that shit, And I wish I could make my own film, but I don't know. Having seen things getting made, and the shots they have to do, like they go, right, we're going to do this one shot of these two people talking, but we're going to film it from all these different angles, and it takes 2 weeks. and that you kind of go, oh shit, yeah, I didn't realise that. Like,
yeah,
Darth Vader coming through the mist with his lightsaber. That probably took a month to film. You know, and I don't know if I've got the patience.
Well, as someone who's been in films, you know, it is.
Here he is.
It is not as glamorous as it seems. You know, I mean, obviously it depends on how nice the green room is, but generally speaking, being on set is not that glamorous.
There's a lot of waiting, around.
Yeah, there's a lot of waiting, and then usually, yeah, it is like you do the scene like 5 times. Then you have to wait while they swap, because it's not a question of like we'll just move the camera in quicker, depending on the budget, or you know, have to then could take like 40 minutes to just to move everything around, and that's even just the same. And that's before they then have to turn everything around and go back the other way, you know. So it can take ages, which is fine. But especially if you've got to realise like this is a wide shot, great. But if you're especially doing something really like, you know, why are you doing this to me? You don't want to like peak in the wide shot if you're going to have to do that in a close up later and all that sort of thing. You want to try and like not hold back, but at the same time you've got to save it for the shots they're going to use it, and it's hard to know whether that is because they don't know that, maybe they're just filming everything.
Yeah, and it's like when they've got a shot set up and they're going to blow up the entire street, and it's all set up, and then the main actor, like he or she, they've got to run through and they've got to hit these marks. And they got to do this, and this. Let's say the Matrix or something, and they got to run through, and everything's blowing up around them. If they fuck up one line, they go right, cut, start again. Right, it's going to take a fortnight to set this back up again, just because you couldn't say the word and it's like, it's just you having seen behind the scenes stuff, you kind of go, man, that's a lot of work, and to have the vision as well to go, you know, right, okay, so the building's going to go that way and this is going to happen. But when we see it in the finished movie, it's going to look like this. And you're like, fuck, man, that's impressive, having that vision, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. I love films, and I could talk and watch films all day. I don't watch a lot of television, but I love films.
Yeah. Very good, very good. So we're going to go to your favourite opening scene to films. So obviously we've got the scene they do, but there's there's lots of great openings in movies. Do you have any other things didn't quite make the cut?
True Romance.
True Romance, the True Romance.
Is one of the best films ever made. I love it. It's such a beautiful love story between two dysfunctional people, and everyone, like Christopher Walken's brilliant in it, Dennis Hopper's brilliant in it. You know, everybody in it is brilliant. But there's one word that I said that Christian Slater says. I can't say that. He says, I'm not going to say it now. He just says he was talking about the fact that if he had to, because Elvis was such a beautiful man, if he had to, he would fuck Elvis. But he says the F word. He goes, I'm not gay, but if I had to, and he says the F word, and I was watching, I was like, I'm not doing that. It cancelled.
Correct.
Even though it's not. He wasn't being derogatory, or it wasn't like it wasn't really horrible, but it was of a time, and you kind of go, nah, I'm not doing that. But True Romance was the one. True Romance didn't make it, unfortunately. But
True Romance is great because that bit at the beginning, but like the Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken scene.
Yeah,
that's like not the beginning, but that's early on. It's very rare that a film can survive having something that good that early on, and it not just be like a bit disappointing from that point on. But it's almost like it's just another great scene after scene after scene, but that's great.
Yeah, I mean that's it. The amount, the act. I mean, Brad Pitt is under a blanket for the whole thing. It's just, the caliber of actors that they've got in this movie, and people are quite dismissive about it. You either love it or you don't even know about it. It's a funny one. You got Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken, Brad Pitt, all these wonderful people. Rosanna Arquette, and it's like fucking hell. It's a good, and it's a great. I love it very much. But no,
Gandolfini and Tom Sizemore. You're not allowed to have both of them in it. You've got to have one or the other. That was the point where we hit that sort of Rubicon, and it was like Tom Sizemore, James Gandolfini.
Talking about Tom Sizemore in Heat, there's a bit when they're in the they do the heist and it goes wrong because there's one of them who's a bit of a dick, and so they get the guy and they go to this cafe and they're sitting there and they're gonna kill him, and the guy knows he's gonna kill him, but then one of the other people in this place is eating, but he can see what's going on, and Tom Sizemore gives him this look like, what the fuck are you looking at? And it's petrifying. And I was talking about it on Twitter, and I'm going, oh yeah, Tom Sizemore did this. And Tom Sizemore liked it.
Yes.
Have that.
Yeah.
Hello.
Googling yourself.
I'm out here. I was so happy. I was so happy. Even though he's questionable, his behaviour outside of cinema is a bit questionable. But it turns out nearly everybody in films has been a bit of a dick sometimes. So, you
know. I know. Disappointed. But speaking of, so what's your opening you have chosen? What opening have you chosen?
The opening of Seven Psychopaths.
The opening of Seven Psychopaths. Has everyone seen Seven Psychopaths in the room? Have you seen it? No, it's good. It's good. It's weird. It's good, isn't it? Like, again, it's like watching a 90s movie. That's how I like it, because it was like watching a 90s movie, but it was made like a couple of years ago or a few years ago. It's like watching those like that sort of true romance-y sort of, you know, multiple characters, scenes, and like lots of self-contained scenes and stuff. It's good. Yeah. And it's another stellar cast. It's got everybody in it. It's even Tom Waits is superb in this. Tom Waits is, and again, you know, he was in Dracula, and he's such a good actor. And he's in Seven Psychopaths. He's a very underplayed role as well. You know, we just sort of sits there stroking a rabbit, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got his white rabbit.
He just, I think he took the part because he liked rabbits. And he goes, I really like rabbits. He goes, well, if you do this film, you'll be able to spend the entire time sat on a chair stroking rabbits. He's like, good, I'm in, sold. Let's go. Or probably, it's good. Probably what he said.
Hello, rabbits.
Hello, rabbits. No.
Anyone watches go, who the fuck's Tom Waits? You've got a wonderful.
I feel like the people in. I feel like the audience. I feel like the people watching. My hardcore legion of fans on Facebook Live, who have been the last few weeks, will know who Tom Waits is. Don't worry about that, mate.
I'm very pleased. So yeah, the opening is Seven Psychopaths.
So we go. Do you want to explain what's going on in the beginning?
The beginning of the scene, there's these two hitmen. We find out that they are two hitmen. Can't remember what their names are, but they are. You know the actors if you saw them, and they stood on a dam, so like the Hoover Dam or something like that. And they're talking about the fact that they're stood there because they're waiting they're gonna kill someone. Their boss, who's Woody Harrelson, that you find out later on, has sent them off to do this job here, and it turns out he sent them off to kill Woody Harrelson's girlfriend because she's cheated on him or she's done something to him. And so they're stood on this dam and they're waiting for her, and they start having a discussion about what about killing and things like that, these two hitmen. And that's where we're at on this dam. This jogger's running past and things like that. And they're just stood there talking. And it's quite it made me like they're hitmen, but they weren't like sneaking around or that. They were just like two dudes. That's what they do. They kill people, and that was it. And they just stood there talking about what they're going to do or what they have done or what they've seen. It's a really nice bit.
So who do you want to be? Which would you like to be?
I'll be Larry. You could be Tom.
Okay. So what we're going to do now, for everyone who's in the who isn't me and Rich, your videos will go off. So just a reminder that is what's happening, and it is not an accident. We'll see you in a moment for the masterpiece that is Seven Psychopaths.
Is Katie in this one?
It's not going to do the film any favours, us doing this.
If you don't see this and you think to yourself, I want to see, people are going to want to watch this movie after this. It's going to be great.
My acting isn't great, so okay.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Are you ready?
Yes, I've got the script right here.
So I'm Tommy.
You're Tommy, yeah, Tommy.
Was it Dillinger got shot through the eyeball, or am I thinking of somebody else?
Green got shot through the eyeball in Godfather.
Yeah, I'm talking about in real life.
Oh.
Somebody in real life got shot through the eyeball.
Who was that?
Well, no, Larry. Many people in real life have got shot through the eyeball. I'm just saying, I think Dillinger was one of them.
That's really good aim.
No, that ain't really good aim.
How is that not really good aim, Tommy?
That's 100 fucking cops shooting 1,000 bullets a minute. One of them's bound to go through somebody's fucking eyeball.
Eyeball.
You ever shoot a guy in his eyeball?
I stabbed the guy in his ear once. Ice pick, right in his fucking ear.
Yeah, see, that'd be a different subject. That'd be ears.
What's the matter with you, Tommy?
Nothing's the matter with me.
Are you nervous because we're killing the chick?
Yeah, look at me. I'm shaking. I got the chick killing shakes.
They tense up.
Last thing the boss says to me, he says, Tommy, the moment I first saw Angela's eyes, I knew it. I knew it was love. I knew I was fucked, and lo and behold, I was. So, Tommy, the moment after you kill her, please shoot her fucking eyes out. Those were his exact words.
I got one exact word for that. Overkill.
I got two exact words for that. Here.
I got 3 exact words for that. You're damn fucking straight.
In Cuba, torturers used to have a device, 2 thin metal spikes placed here that they adjusted and slowly, millimeter by millimeter, pricked into the eyeballs.
You're kidding me. Those communist motherfuckers.
Well, no, Larry. These are the ones the communist motherfuckers. These are the ones those communist motherfuckers kicked out.
What is it with you today, Tommy? First, it's should we or shouldn't we shoot this chick through the eyeballs? The second, it's you've gone soft.
And then the last hitman shoots them both in the back of the head and then scene.
Because all the time that they're talking, running up behind them is the fucking dude who's one of the 7 psychopaths. They don't even see him coming. They're chatting away. He runs up behind them and there's 2 guns. Done. And he throws playing cards on them. The Joker's poof, and he's gone.
Nice.
And it turns out, I won't tell you who it is because you see it.
But it's good. Watch it.
Fucking great. I love it so much. Because people, the thing is, people hear my accent, or they hear me, I'm a bit blokey or a bit laddie, and they go, I bet all you watch is Snatch and Lock, Stock. And you go, well, I've seen it. But I like more than that. I like, one of my favourite films is Eat Good Man Woman, which is I think it's Japanese. I might be wrong and horrifically racist, but it's about this chef, and he hasn't got any taste buds, so he's got his mate that tastes. He's a top chef, and his mate he tastes all the food for him in the kitchens where they work, this restaurant that they own. And the main dude has got 2 daughters, and every weekend they meet up and they have this amazing meal, and it keeps the family together. And they realise later on that because they think they're doing it. They think they're doing it for the dad, to keep it. But it turns out that he's quite happy if they don't. None of them really want to do it. Like, I'll be fine if this can happen. Everything's fine, but they're like supporting each other. And they don't realise that they don't have to. It's a really good film. Eat, Drink, Man, Woman.
Yes.
So people make assumptions. Happening, killing, and I do, but not all the time.
Yes, it's nice to take a little break from the murder.
Yeah.
Have a little bit of mise en scène every now and then. Don't hurt, does it?
I like all kinds of movies. Yes.
Speaking of mise en scène, we've got quite a middle scene for artistic vision and the like, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
What have you chosen for your middle scene?
One of my most favourite films of all time, Grand Budapest Hotel. Wes Anderson. Yes. This film it's perfect. Everybody in it. There's not an ounce of fat on it. There's Owen Wilson's in it, and he doesn't say anything. He's just like the concierge, whoever he is. He's like the doorman of the hotel. It's like everyone in it is brilliant. The whole thing is shot like a graphic novel, so it just looks perfect. And I just love everything. And Ralph Fiennes is extraordinarily brilliant in this. And the relationship between him and the young lad Zero, who's his bellboy, is beautiful.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's quite sort of sweary, but it's also quite sort of beautiful. There's a weird thing where he's like, It gives this like weird hello, and then of course, then the tree and the lights of the trees will fall on the pond shall illuminate my heart. And, oh fuck this, let's go.
Yeah,
you know, it's really weird, like, but it works, you know. Because I'm a big Wes Anderson fan. Like, Bottle Rocket I remember Bottle Rocket when it came out and getting that and just being, this is amazing, like loving, and then his other films as well. But Bottle Rocket was like, what a movie. But he's not always as funny as he thinks he is.
No,
because of his aesthetic and his thing. His comedy doesn't always land for me. But this is one where it all lands. Like it's all it's all great.
He really hit his stride with this one. What's the one? Is it Moonrise Kingdom?
The summer camp one.
Yeah, I found that. I watched that on a plane, and because there were young people fall in love, and it was a little bit. I just switched it off because I'm like, people are going to think I'm a paedophile if I'm watching this. A fine line between art and paedophilia.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't.
And it even has that thing where it's like got voiceover and narration, and it's not like, it's one of those films where it's quite ballsy to make a film like that, because if it doesn't work, then it's just insufferable. Like if it's like you're watching, you go, this is great, but if you don't do it exactly correctly, then it's just bollocks.
Yeah,
it's a complete pretentious waste of time, but it works. And the weird colour scheme, not traditional, like really weird pastel pinks and like, it's not like usual fantasy colours either. It's really, really good.
Yeah, it's a great. I love Wes Anderson films, but this one for me, Grand Budapest Hotel, and this is the scene where Ralph Fiennes he's been locked up. He's in this awful prison, which is inescapable. And he ends up getting a job. He's like, delivers the food to all the prisoners. But again, because he's so eloquent and lovely, but even though he swears like a docker, but he's sort of like gained the trust of everyone this man, he's so charming. He's charmed his way into getting this job where he goes around from cell to cell, dishing out the gruel. And so he's befriended everybody. So he knows everybody. And there's this cell full of murderers and really evil looking bastards led by Harvey Keitel. And it's such a wonderful bit where they're talking about how they're going to break out of the prison, and it's beautiful, and I love it so much. Just the way he's earned these horrible on the set. They look like they would eat kids, but he's won their trust, and he's found the softness within them, and it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it. So yeah, it's that bit where they're in the prison. Yeah.
Excellent. Yes. So who are you going to be? Do you want
to
I couldn't tell you one Kasabian song.
I'll be Monsieur Gustave.
Give me Monsieur Gustave. I'll be Harvey Keitel.
Lovely. Because in between there's no. That's it, isn't it? Because he just And
then Katie will be Pinky and Gunther.
Yeah, lovely.
So it's German, isn't it? German accents traditionally for Katie rather than, or French. What do we think? German?
I think it's German, isn't it?
German accent. So let's see your best German accent, Katie.
Which of the characters is that?
Pinky.
Get it right.
Wolf.
Yeah.
Wolf, who are the evil? They look like horrific human beings, but they're actually sweethearts inside.
Yes, I will also do the narration for you as well. So we'll, as it is Grand Budapest Hotel, not the Exotic Marigold Hotel. That's a different
film. That's one for the mums and dads.
That's the glorified ITV drama premiere. This is art.
Exactly.
That's the film where they went. You just need to get either. Like, you need to get one of these 6 actors in it to get funding. I'll get all 6 of them. There's no need. Just have just one of them. We'll get your film. I'm going to have all 6 of them. Okay, fine.
All right, fine. So the scene is they're in the prison. It's this impenetrable fortress. You can't get in or out. And so he goes to this, and it's like all concrete and horrible. There's no comfort in this prison.
Then, Matthew.
And so Monsieur Gustave turns up at the door of the cell, and he's got the gruel on the trolley, like a tea trolley, and the scene starts from there.
So do you want to go with your line then?
So, rise and shine, chop chop.
A wiry pint-sized convict in the shape of a fire hydrant squints out from under the covers. He's Pinky.
Good morning, Pinky.
Pinky yawns and sets his feet on the floor. The convicts in the other bunks also begin to rustle. Their faces are brutal, their bodies hard and powerful. They are Gunther and Wolf. A fourth convict is also in the room and begins to get out of bed. We don't see his face. Monsieur Gustave reaches to the lowest shelf of the car and produces a pink pastry box. All the convicts gather at the small table.
Now, this is some confectionery from the bakers that Monsieur Gustave knows, and it's the best confectionery you have ever had in your entire life. It's sensational. The cakes and confectionery they make are indescribable. You put an element of this on your tongue, and it's like angels have kissed you. It's incredible.
Well, I like Toblerone.
Takes of airports.
Picks them up in the duty free on your way back.
Yeah, I got your present. You forgot to get me a present, didn't you? That's why I got a fucking Toblerone.
So he picks the thing up, puts it on the table.
Yes.
Hey, what?
Mendel's.
Mendel's again?
Precisely. Who's got the throat slitter?
Gunther digs in his sock and takes out a small weapon consisting of half a toothbrush fixed to a wire to a hand-slivered slit razor cut into serrated teeth. Mr. Gustave folds open the pastry box and cuts a courtisan of chocolate into careful segments. The convicts eat them daintily.
Out of this world.
Mendel's is the best. Well, back to work.
Mr. Gustave?
Yeah.
Pinky exchanges looks with the others. They nod. He darts the door, looks up and down the corridor, closes the door softly. He signals for Monsieur Gustave to sit back down. Monsieur Gustave, slightly puzzled, obeys. They all lean closer as Pinky whispers.
Me and the boys talked it over. We think you're a real straight fella.
Well, I've never been accused of that before, but I appreciate the sentiment.
You're one of us now.
What a lovely thing to say. Thank you, dear Pinky. Thank you, Gunther. Thank you, Wolf. I couldn't ask for a finer tribute.
Monsieur Gustave bows slightly. He hesitates.
Anything else?
Pinky looks at the fourth convict. He nods.
Tell him, Ludwig.
We see Ludwig, numerous short scars, chop skinny, bald lines into his shorn scalp. His arms are tattooed heavily with skulls, skeletons, images of the Grim Reaper. He is Ludwig. Ludwig takes a deep breath. Checkpoint 19 ain't no two-bit Huskau. You got broad gauge iron bars on every door, vent and window. You got barbed wire on every containment wall and barricade. You got 72 guards on the floor and 60 more in the towers. You got a 325-foot drop into a moat full of crocodiles. But, like the best of them, it's got a soft spot, which in this case happens to take the form of a storm-drained sewer system dating from the time of the original rock fortification way back in the Middle Ages. Now, nobody's saying it's a stroll down a tree-lined promenade with a fine lady and a white poodle, but it's got what you'd call vulnerability. And that's our bread and butter. Take a look. Ludwig produces a crude but highly detailed map of the floor and passes it to Monsieur Gustave, who examines it with concentration.
Who drew this?
What do you mean, who drew this? I did.
Very good. You've got a wonderful line, Ludwig. This shows great artistic promise. Question: how do you intend to penetrate this lower rudiment? If I interpret the legend correctly, it's 25 inches of reinforced granite masonry, is it not? Digging with the cutthroat slitter, I expect that would take 3 to 6 months of continual effort, during which time several of our members will have been violently executed.
You hit the nail on the head, Mr. Gustave. We got fake documents, second-hand street clothes, and a rope ladder made out of sticks and bunk linens. But we need digging tools, and that's proving hard to come by in this flop house. Monsieur Gustave nods gravely. The others slump, listless and sigh. Monsieur Gustave taps rapidly on the table with the jerry-rigged ship. Suddenly, he sits up and frowns. The others watch him curious. Then look where he's looking. The camera zooms in closely towards the crinkled wrapper of a courtesan of chocolat, and the 5 inmates all stare at it together.
Oh.
Scene! Scene! Hey. There you go. And that's how that's if you've not seen, that's exactly what it was like.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I don't even watch it, because that was how it was.
I know. It's like, if anything, we'd be doing it a disservice to...
you're going to ruin it for yourself if you actually watch it now, because that was brilliant.
So we're going to, yeah, that was excellent work, team. Excellent work.
Well
so
done.
Do we have any questions? Do we have any points on Facebook that need addressing? Anything on Facebook that needs to be addressed before we move on to our final scene?
We don't know. You can move on to your final scene. Oh,
good.
I
had a horrible thing. I'm a big fan of that. The way that they do that sort of long talk, like just sort of telling people what the thing is. There's a really good film called The Hot Rock,
right?
Which is a Robert Redford film from the 70s, based on a Donald Westlake novel about trying to steal it. They continually have to keep stealing a diamond. It's really, really good. But there's a great bit in it where Robert Redford gives this sums up why the job is good and it's bad, and it's just him talking. He's just like, and that's a bit like what the Harvey Keitel bit does there, just that talking, explaining, you know. And that's all there's a guaranteed return, that's good, but the guarantor is a moose and a moose is a rookie, and that's bad. It's just the whole thing is like a massive conversation that. It's just, I love that stuff.
I love stuff like I love a good monologue. I slagged it off earlier, but the monologue in Snatch with Bricktop, when he explains what he goes, do you know what nemesis means?
Yeah.
A righteous infliction of retribution manifested in an appropriate agent. In this case, an horrible cunt. Me. I fucking love that. And it sounds like his teeth don't fit.
I know, because he's got the whole face you're doing this the whole time. Do you know what nemesis is?
You know what nemesis is?
You know what nemesis
Alan Ford, brilliant supporting actor.
Yeah. When he did 3 movies, bit parts in 3 movies, then some of those Armando Iannucci sketches, and suddenly he's in Snatch, and then suddenly it all sort of properly takes off. But very sort of minor in his, but great, but minor in his early work, but fantastic.
Well, he'd always turn up in The Professionals or Minder or something like that, old 70s television.
Yeah.
Good. Right.
So now we're going to come to your favourite ending to any film ever, which I'm a big fan of. As I say, some suggestions. There's no right or wrong answer because it's what you think, but there are some answers are more correct than others. So I think this is one of those ones that is correct. Yeah. So what is your favourite ending to any film ever?
This is the ending to the film, the 1982 version of the film The Thing, starring
Yes, which is correct.
One of the best films ever made.
It is.
Even now, you can see that the monsters and everything, it's all rubber and it's all this, that, and the other. But because I saw it at a time where I didn't see all the rubber and stuff. I was a kid when I saw it. Fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
When that head comes off, turns to a spider and fucks off. And he just sees it run out. He goes, "You gotta be fucking kidding me."
What I like about it is it's a film where everyone behaves correctly. It's obviously there's a bit of bickering and stuff, but there's bickering in a correct way. Do you know? It's not and
they are shitting themselves.
And also the bit when he gets the stick of dynamite and he just gets the creature's dead, he's just like, "Yeah, well, fuck you too," and just throws a stick of dynamite at it. You're like, yes.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's John Carpenter at his finest.
And I think as well, if I remember rightly, if you follow the story logically, it's impossible to actually do the through line of who is infected when, because it's even the writer doesn't know. It doesn't make sense how it can. You can't do the sort of A to B to C to work out how it works. And they go,
that's why it
doesn't matter.
That's why this is why this last scene works perfectly, because no one knows who's infected and who's not. No one knows who's the real version of themselves, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
I'll tell you something though. I tried not to be that guy who gets angry at films anymore. I've been quite good at reining that in and not just being furious about things that upset me.
I've known you for many years, so I've had a few conversations with you where you nearly punched the windows out of a pub. Talking about some film or other.
Yeah, but I'm better now.
I know. You've been barred from the pubs.
But yeah, just stop going to pubs.
Yeah.
But I did make the mistake of watching the 2011 prequel to The Thing.
No.
Which made me so angry. And it shouldn't matter. I think what it was for years we're going, can we have a sequel to The Thing? No. Can we have a sequel to The Thing? No. Can we have a sequel to The Thing? No. But you know what you can have? A pointless prequel to The Thing that doesn't really technically work as a prequel.
No. And it's too glossy. The beautiful thing about the original, or not the original one, the 1982 one, is that it's a bit rough around the edges. You know, it's 1982. The technology wasn't there, and now you can't take that and put it into now because it just loses everything that it had. You know.
Also, I was watching the prequel, and you're going to go in. All you've got to do when this finishes is end with somebody chasing a dog out of the compound, and then like that means that does technically happen, but like as a mid prequel, as a mid credits thing. But the film ends, and I'm watching it. I'm like, they've run out of Norwegians. Like, literally all you've got to do at the end of this movie is end with the person who's left chasing the dog. That's literally all you've got.
Helicopter.
They didn't do it.
It
doesn't happen to me often, but the film finished, and I out loud went, "What?" Like I shouted, "What?" Like, is like, what are you doing? You've got like literally one thing you've got to do is have that Norwegian chasing the fucking dog.
And then have Kurt Russell going, crazy Swedes, they're Norwegian, man. It's like, that's all you needed. That was it.
I know.
I got angry watching, I went to see, what's it called? Avatar.
Yeah.
Came out. And I remember watching that, and I'm sat there. There's a bit, so they're all flying around in those blue animal things. And then this massive orange one turns up. And they went, only 4 people have ever tamed one of them. And I literally out loud went, fuck off.
Yeah.
I knew in 20 minutes that fucking prick was going to be flying around on one. Bullshit, mate. Someone said to me once, when's the last time you cried at the cinema? Fucking Avatar. 30 tickets.
We've got 27 sequels coming up, though, so that's exciting.
Oh, great. Fucking great.
James Cameron's answer. James Cameron did a thing and the lack of imagination and original filmmaking in cinema. So I'm going to combat that with 5 sequels to Avatar.
Just stop, Cameron. You don't need to. You made Titanic. Well done, mate. See you later.
Yeah. So we're going to do the ending to The Thing, which I'm a big fan of.
Love this. So The Thing. I'll be Mac, and you can be Charles.
I'll be Charles.
Yeah.
Hello.
So I'll do the thing. So it's the end of the film. They've lost all their other crew. The whole compound is on fire. They're out in the Arctic. Everything's burnt down. There's just these 2 people left, and they don't know who's an alien and who isn't. There's 2 fellas. So Mac is outside on the ground, exhausted as Charles approaches, both wary of each other.
And I should also point out, if for anyone who's watching, maintaining strict social distancing parameters. definitely staying 6 feet away from each other. So it's definitely, you know.
Yeah, excellent vision. It's like
be alert. Yeah. Be alert, guys. Use common sense. Be alert.
Yeah. Wash your hands. Right, so Childs is first.
So you're the only one who made it?
Not the only one.
Did you kill it?
Where were you, Childs?
Thought I saw Blair. Went out after. Got lost in the storm.
Child sits. They are both exhausted.
Fire's got the temperature way up all over camp. Won't last long, though.
Neither will we.
How will we make it?
Maybe we shouldn't.
If you're worried about me...
If we've got any surprises for each other, I don't think we're in much shape to do anything about it.
Well, what do we do?
Why don't we just wait here for a little while, see what happens? Pauses, passes him the bottle of whiskey. He takes a swig, and they sit there in the snow, waiting to die.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
What a film.
Scene!
Oh, good.
The end of The Thing, everybody. The end of The Thing.
If we don't end up in Hollywood after this, mate, I don't know what the fuck.
I know. It's basically the perfect self-tape audition.
We're going to be in Snatch 2.
My favourite things I forget to think about The Thing at the beginning when the dog attacks, the dog runs over and they're shooting. The Norwegian shouts out in Norwegian, "It's not a dog, it's a monster. Kill it, kill it."
Oh yeah.
In Norwegian. So if you speak Norwegian, it's a massive spoiler alert for the film.
Yeah, fucked it. Oh, switch it off. Bye.
But that is such a good ending because you're like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Right, I enjoyed that.
We made it. Is there anything on Facebook to clear up before we go, Holly?
Darren Nuttall says he's pleased you did the end of the thing because it saves him having to watch it. Because he's a scaredy monkey.
Get on.
Obviously, as with all of our final scenes, spoilers, but it did come out in 1982, so pull your finger off the guys.
Yeah, exactly. It's not seen it by now, Jesus.
Excellent. Well, we've made it, team. We've come to the end of the show.
Was that
We've made it, team.
2 hours?
Excellent. Thank you so much for watching. If you've been for those of you in the front row, thank you so much for being here. And for everybody who's watching on Facebook, thank you. Do feel free to leave comments and the like. As I say, people who've been on the show, they have social media. Richard Wilson, where can we find you online and where can people find out your stuff?
I am Rich Wilson on Instagram and Twitter. I'm on Facebook. I've also got a podcast called Insane in the Membrane. Where we've had Heston Blumenthal, James Acaster, David Baddiel. We've had some great guests where men talk about their feelings, and we're also starting one next week called Insane in the Fembrain, where old Wilson goes and talks to the birds, finding out how the women work. So we're doing that next week. So that comes out next week. So next week you find me.
Excellent, brilliant. So if you've liked everyone who's been on, Rich Wilson, Katie Pritchard, then do seek them out online. Do donate to them, but most importantly, donate to me. Richard Sandling, Ko-fi, still don't know, .com/Richard Sandling/commissions. Go on Richard Sandling or Squat Betty, _Betty, but Ko-fi.com, Richard Sandling. Go on there, buy me a kebab, tip me with a kebab. I promise I will not share any of it with the axe. It's all going to be for me. But if you like them, go on their pages and give them money separately. That would be the perfect thing. They've all done brilliantly. You've all done brilliantly. Thanks ever so much. We'll be back again next week. Assuming the lineup stays the same, we've got Nathaniel Metcalf and Tom Tuck for your delectation. So that should be a good, fun show. But now give a round of applause for the axe you saw. You saw Katie Pritchard. Rich Wilson. Yay! I'm Richard Sandling. Thank you very much. Good night. Yay!